morning everyone. Let's start with Groovy script collections topic today. In this we will discuss about certain topics like arrays, array list, hash set, hash map, hash table. All these topics will come under collections framework in Groovy script. First, let's start with arrays. What is an array? An array is the collection of memory spaces of similar data type. So, if I want to declare an array in Groovy script, as we discussed, def is a keyword, def is a keyword to declare any variable. To create an array, we need to use the keyword called new. New is the keyword to allocate a memory. After new, we need to declare the data type. I want to take a string array, so I have to use string. This is an declaration for the array. So in array, when we declare square brackets like this, for arrays we need to give the size of an array. For example, if I give 5 here, that means we have created an array that is called string type array, and the size of an array is 5. And here one more important point is index. Always in arrays, index will be starts with 0 and ends with n-1. For example, we can say n-1. N means size of an array. Here I have given size is 5. That means n-1 means 4. 5 minus 1 4. That means in array X we can store the 5 data, as array size is 5, but the index will starts from 0. So in X I can provide the data like this. In X 0, because in index 1 I can store some country name India, as it is a string array. So like this, in each and every index we can store data USA. Like this, in each and every index place we can store one of the element. So now we can look into the example. So let me create a project here, sample project. For example, I will give Groovy. Okay, I will add test suite, Groovy 1. Under test suite I will create test case, name as is I will keep, that is test case 1. Under test case 1 I will create one test step, it is Groovy script. As we are looking into the example for array, I am providing step name as array. So here we can see how to declare an array. As already discussed here, and as I said, an array is the collection of memory spaces of similar data types. That is the reason when we declare an array, I am providing string 5. Okay. As index starts with 0, in x0 I will give India, x1 I will provide USA. X2 I will provide UK. X3 I will give Australia. X4 I will give Canada. Okay, so I have declared an array with size 5, and in each index I have assigned string because it is a string type array. Now I want to print. To print an array, we have the syntax called log.info. Log is a variable. In our earlier classes we spoke about script is invoked with log, context and test runner variables. We already discussed about these three variables. So to print any data in console in log output, we should use log.info. Here I want to print x0 as of now. Okay, so no need to give like this, and see here we can see it's printed India because in x0 in 0 place India is there. If I ran x4, it's giving output as Canada. Okay, so to print all the elements once, we can use, what can we use? We can use for loop. To write a for loop, let's start with for syntax. What is the syntax for loop? I am repeating the previous classes because it would be good to repeat. In for loop, we will give 3 steps. One is initialization, and another one is condition, and another one is increment or decrement. So here what should we do first? We need to initialize. For example, int I equal to 0. Start with I equal to 0. And what is the condition I should give here? I less than. Here we have how many elements? What is the size of the array? 5. But how can you, here we know x equal to new string 5. We have given the size as 5. But when we get the size of the array in real time, we have a method called size. You can say it's a function. Size is a function to return the size of an array. So x less than, I can give x dot size. After that I plus plus. This is the syntax for loop. This is initialization, this is condition, this is increment or decrement. After this, to print an array, we can give log.info x I. So first it will print x0. After that I will increment x1 plus plus 1 less than x dot size equal to 4. Sorry, x dot size means we will get 5. So to know that, log.info, we can write like the size of an array plus x dot size, sorry, x dot size. I will clear the log. See here, first size of an array is 5 because we have declared 5, but the index starts with 0. If you see a 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we received in output console size of an array is 5, and it's printed India, USA, UK, Australia, Canada. All elements are displayed. This is all about string to declare and to read the data from the string. Here one more point, every time in interviews there is an important question called. For example, if I declare here I have given string size is yes, so it's starting with 0, I am adding fifth element as well. We can see what will happen when we declare more than the size of an array. Here in Canada place I am giving some New Zealand. Okay, now I will run this, you can see what will happen. See, java.lang.array index out of bounds exception 5 error at line 7. Error pop-up displayed, and it clearly showing that error at line 7. That means in 7 you can see x5 new z, because when we are declaring the data in more than the size of an array, in that case we will receive array index out of bounds exception, because it's out of the range. That is the reason we are receiving array index out of bounds exception. This is very important question. Everyone will ask in interviews that, like, when we declare size is more, when we are assigning the values to the array when more than the declared size, in that by default everyone will get this error message saying array index out of bounds exception. Okay, and another one, here we have written using for loop. So at the same time we can discuss about for each loop. This is for loop. We can see for each loop, because many people will use for each loop as well, because it will, without the advantage of for each loop is no need to know about the size of an array. In for loop we will give syntax as like initialization, condition and increment, decrement. But when it comes to the for each loop, we can write it very easily. For loop, in that, as we mentioned earlier, we have to print one by one, right? I am declaring string one item, after that colon, and we have to give the variable name, array name. I want to print log info. Let me complete the program first, then we can see. I will run this. See, all elements in array are printed. India, USA, UK, Australia, Canada. In for each loop, the advantage is no need to declare the size and no need to declare increment or decrement. Simply we can write that our array name is x. Instead of printing x, we are assigning each and every value. For loop means it will run the loop till the condition meets. Here, how many elements are there in array x, it will run those many times, and each and every item it will assign to the item. First x equals 0 and x0 will assign to the item, x1 will assign to the item, x2 will assign to the item, x4 will assign to the item, and one by one it will print. When it comes to the x is empty, that means it will come out of the for each loop, because it is simple to use and easy to understand as well, without using the increment or decrement, and at the same time using, no need to use the size method. This is all about arrays concept. So now we can move to the array list. For array list, no need to mention the size of an array. When we talk about array list, first we need to know what is the difference between array and array list. As I said, for array, here we need to declare the size. That means X is an array, but it is a fixed size. But when it comes to the array list, we no need to mention the size of an array list while creates its object. So here also new means what? We are allocate, new is the keyword, we are to allocate the memory. So when we write, for example, in Java or any programming language, simply we will write like int a equal to 5, we will write. So int is a data type, by default it will take some bytes to assign the data. So like that, when we create an object also, for example, I have created one class like this, class A, and here I have written some programming language, and when it comes to the main method, we will create an object for A, some A1 equal to new A. For everywhere we use it, must and should we use to use keyword called new. What it will? It's a keyword to allocate a memory to particular object. For class A, we are creating an object. Where it will create? There should be some memory, right? Then only we can create an object, and for that object space we can assign some data and everything. So same when we declare a string, how we are allocating the memory using new keyword, like that for array list also we have to create an object, and at the same time we no need to assign the size of an array. Is it clear? We can show the example, we can look into the example as well. Add step and one more Groovy script, array list. And array list always supports dynamic array, and that can grow as needed, because we can add how many elements we want to the array list. Once we look into the example, it will be very easy to understand. Array list, it is class name. I am creating an object new array list. This is what I said. What I said? When we create an object for array list, no need to mention the size of an array. In array, when we declare an array, I have declared the size. That means array, always we have to remember that array is a fixed size. When it comes to the array list, there is a no fixed size. We can add, it's a dynamic, and we can add how many elements we want to add while allocating the memory. Okay, sorry. Now, how to add an elements to the array list? There is a method called add. Coming to the array list, there is a method called, sorry guys, add. Add is a method to add elements to the array list. So array list dot, I can write add. We have to use parenthesis, bracket, I added India to the array list. Okay. So how to print here? As of now, I have added only one element to the array list. If you want to print that one, log.info a1 dot, sorry, array list al dot get 0. See, India is printed. When we want to work with the array list, simply we need to remember two methods by default, because once we created an object to the array list, there is a two methods, one for add data to the array list and to retrieve the data from the array list. Because it's mandatory, right? When we want to work with any object, as in arrays we know that is its fixed size. In each and every index we can add the data based on the size index, f0, f1, f2, f3, like that we can add. But here simply based on the what do you call, like based on step by step it will add. Like for example, I have added al.add India. That means I have added India to the array list at first instance. That means it should be in 0 index. That is the reason when I write log.info al.get 0, India is printed. If I write array list.add, I am adding USA. So if I run again, it's no such property A1 for class script. So see, I am using A1 instead of AL. Control Z. Okay. If I run this, it's printing only India, because I am not printing USA. That means I have added second instance. That means I should write, to print USA, I should write al.get1. Then only India USA both will print. So to make it clear, when it comes to the array, we will add the data to the based on the index af0, a1, f1, af2, like that. I need to add data to the array. I need to arrange it. But when it comes to the array list, there is a method called add. Using that method, we can add how many elements we want to add. It depends on our requirement. Because why I am telling all these very high level, because each and everything in depth, all these concepts we will use in our framework design. I'm adding one more, array list dot add UK. Control C, get to. All three are printed. So till now we discussed about arrays and array list. In arrays, the important method is called size, to know the size of an array. When it comes to the array list, there are two important methods. One is add elements to the array list. Another method is get, to retrieve data from the array list. These two are very important methods while we are working on array list. Okay. So I am moving to the another. I will moving to the another another topic in collections, that is hash set. This is very important. Hash set and hash table, these two are very important concepts in collections framework, along with the arrays and array list. Let's start with hash set now. Hash set is member of collections framework, and it is an unordered collection. Why it is unordered collection? We can look into the example. And another important point in hash set is, it does not maintain the order in which the elements are insertable. Because why I am telling this point is, when it comes to the array list, here we can see, right, I have added 3 items. What is an index here? 0, 1, 2. But when it comes to the hash set, it will not work in this way. That is the reason I am telling the important point again, that hash set does not maintain the order in which the elements are inserting. In hash set also we have some important methods, and let's start with creates an empty hash set. After that we can repeat these steps as needed. Add step, adding Groovy script, hash set. First I will create an empty hash set. Hash set set equal to new hash set. Okay. So here I have created an empty hash set. The object name is set. To add an elements to this hash set, same as array list, using add method. Again I am adding India because it's easy to use the data. That is the reason I am using India, same data every time. Okay, I am adding one more Australia to the hash set. After that set, add UK, and set add Canada. Okay, I have added 4 elements to the hash set. So here what I want to say is, like, we need to remember when we work with the hash set, we need to remember 2. Sorry, one is hash set does not have duplicate items. Another one is it does not have index, and it shouldn't follow an order, because when it comes to the array list, here I am repeating, sorry, I am repeating again, because here there is an order, it is following index and it is following an order, both. But when it comes to the hash set, it won't work in this way. To retrieve the data from the hash set, we need to follow one concept. Okay, we have one topic called iterator. Using iterator, we can retrieve the data from the hash set. So what is an iterator? Iterators are used to work with we can use iterator is one of the concept to work in collections framework. That is for to retrieve the elements, we can say one by one. In array list we have the method add get, and it is an index based, so easy to retrieve. But when it comes to the index, it does not have an index. As I said, it does not have an index, it does not have any order. In that case, how we can retrieve the data from the hash set? There is a concept called iterator. Using iterator concept, we can retrieve the data elements one by one. Iterator object can be created by calling iterator method. So I will show you how to create an iterator method. Iterator, okay, I am creating an object itr. There, just now I told one method, right, one statement. What is that? Iterator object can be created by calling iterator method. Where we apply iterator method? To the hash set. So because we need to retrieve the data from the hash set method, because all elements we added into the set. Here what I did, here I have created an object for iterator to read the data from the hash set. I have used the method called iterator method. That is why I mentioned that statement. Iterator object can be created by calling iterator method, which is present in collections framework. So this iterator has mainly 3 methods. Iterator has how many methods? 3 methods. One is as next method. Okay. Another one is next method, and another method is remove method. These three are very important methods in iterator, because using these 3 methods we can retrieve the data. So what is an as next method? What this method do is it returns true if the iteration has more elements. That means here I have created iterator object, right? And what assigned to the iterator method? Set. When I apply has next method on iterator object, it returns either true or false. If it returns true if the iterator has the more elements. It returns false, there is no methods in that iterator. It's very simple. And another method is next. What next method will do? It returns the next element in the iteration. Whatever element data is there in that iteration, it will return that element. Otherwise, it will throw an error as well. If there is no data, what it will return? It throws error saying like no such element exception if no more elements are there. Another method is remove. Name itself we can say it is a remove method to remove the next element in the iteration. And one more point here is this remove method can be called only once per each call. Okay. So here let's coming to the program. Here I have created an object for iterator. So one more point here, when we declare like this, that means at beginning iterator cursor will point to index just before the first element in the set. That means India, before India, it will be starting point. For example, as I said, how has next before printing set elements, I want to show you something. Log.info, we have created iterator object iterator dot as next. I will see what it will print. We received an error, missing method exception, no such signature of method. Hash set iterator is applicable for argument types, values. Iterator. Did we write anywhere spelling wrong? IT. It seems spelling is wrong somewhere. As next is a method. Set iterator. So here we have received an error pop-up saying like iterator method at line number 10 we received an error. So iterator method I is small, that is the reason we are receiving that error. This is the method, we are not creating, we are creating an object to the iterator I is capital here, but we are applying iterator method on hash set. That is the reason we are receiving an error at line number 10. If I run this, as we discussed, has next is a method, what it will do? It will return either true or false. If it is true, that means iterator has more elements, that is the reason we received true. I want to return which element it is, point out log.info. There is another method called next. If we write next method, next, when we write next method, it returns CAN. Why it returns CAN instead of India? There is two important points we discussed. One is there is no index and no order. That is the reason it's written whatever element it took, it returns that. There is no order at all. So to print all the elements, what we need to do? We need to write a while method. How can we write in while? There is a syntax called while loop. In that we can write what has next method will do. It will return either true or false. When it is false, there is no elements. Here also same, right? To run while loop, it will run while loop till that condition meets either true or false. If it is true, while loop will execute. If it is false, it will come out of the while loop. So here in while loop, I am providing iterator dot as next. That means it will true when it has elements. After that, we need to print one by one, right? To print the elements from iterator dot next, itr dot next. Now I am running this program. Okay, see here as next, I have not closed. Here we can see true, because iterator dot as next. After that CAN, because we am printing the next one. When it comes to the while loop, again it has to return everything, right? First it took UK, after that India, after that Australia. Okay, so I will comment these two, then you can see all elements will print. Canada, UK, India, Australia. 4. I have added 4. 4 is printed without any order. That is the difference between array list and hash set. Is it clear? Here there are two more important methods we can discuss under hash set. One is contains method. What it will do is contains. What this method will do is it will return either true or false whatever element we are searching in hash set. Either true or false. If the element is present in hash set, it will return true. If searching element is not available, then it will return false. And another method is remove. If you want to remove a particular element, remove element from the hash set. These are frequently used methods in hash set. We can see one example. Here I have printed 4 elements, right? I want to check log.info set dot. Directly I will apply these methods on set only, because set 1 we have created set 1, right? Dot contains. Contains is the method. I want to search India is there or not. What it returns? It returns true because India is there. If I give only IND, let's see what will happen. It returns false because IND is not there, we have only India. This method, when it will use, for example, if we want to check the responses, for example, if it is soap request, we ran the response, we received the soap response that is in HTML XML format. In that we want to search for particular element data, it should be India. In that case we can use these contain methods. It will return either true or false. If it is true, our test case pass. If it false, our test case fails. So we can use the contains method to check that particular element, the data is present in the hash set or not. Okay. And another one, remove, shift home, control C, and I want to remove UK. What it returns? False and it true, because set1 dot remove, it removes UK. I can do one thing, control C, again I am writing this, I am clearing this, see what it will happen. Canada, UK, India, Australia prints, because it's already prints, right? That is the reason. So if it removes, I wrote set1 dot remove UK, so it removes this element, we received true. This one false, India is not present, India is not present, that is the reason it returns false. So like this we have to use hash set. And there is one more point we have discussed on hash set, that is it does not have duplicate items. That means I am adding Canada again, but when I run my program I can see Canada only once. I am clearing and I am running again. See, if you look into our output, Canada, UK, India, Australia, false, true. But we have not received Canada next time, 2 times. We have received only 1 time. That means it is taking only the last one, because hash set does not support duplicate items. That is the reason it will be add only once to the hash set. Okay. So sorry, till now we spoke about arrays, array list, hash set. Finally we can discuss about hash table, which is very important, which is somewhat difficult compared with all these 3, array, array list and hash set. Hash table, we can see simple example. So this is a very important topic in hash table. We are using hash table class implements a hash table class implements a hash table, like hash set we are using hash set class, right? Array list we are using as array list class. Like that, for hash table also we should use hash table class implements a hash table which has maps key to value pair. What is key value pair? We can look into the example. Another important one is it always stores key value pair in hash table. And another important point is when we specify an object that is used as a key and the value what we want to associate to that key, the key is the hashed. Okay. So and the results hash code is used as the index at which the value is stored within the table. So if you people get confused, it will be clear when we write an example. Okay. Simply we need to remember one is that hash table is a key value pair. What is key, what is value, what is object? If it confuses little bit, it will make it clear while write a program. Okay, hash table class, I am creating an object, new hash table. We have created an hash table. How to add data to the hash table? We have to use object, hash table object, obviously, ht dot. What I said, hash table stores key value pair in the hash table. There is a method called put. Using put method, we can add data to the hash table. How it will be? Key and value pair. What is the key? What is the value? Here my key will be name. Name is the key. What will be the value? For example, name Groovy I am giving. Here name is key, Groovy is value. That is the reason this is the key value pair in the object in this hash table. Got it? This is the key, this is the value. Using put method, we will add data to the hash table. To print this one, how to write it? Log.info hash table dot get. Using get, line 1 hash table ht hash table Groovy control line 1 column 11, line 1 only. In hash did we use anything, namespaces? No, we have not used anything. hash hash is t is small, you can try with t small. Yeah, get to invoke from the list. Okay, what I did, I have written only get. I should mention, right, what it has to written. No such property name for class. Keep it in double quote. See, whenever we received an error pop-up, don't get confused or try to debug it. It's very good habit to us, because in Groovy script, as in every video we are talking, like whenever we received an error, like in Eclipse we will receive an error, there is a call like this line number, before running only we will get it. But here there will be predefined syntaxes error, there will be red line mark like that. But when it Groovy script, while writing Groovy script in SOAP-UI, we will not receive any errors in at the lines. While debugging only we will receive an errors. So we need to be very careful. So in hash table, I have created an object called ht, and I have added ht.put key value pair. To retrieve, we should use get method and we should use the key, because this is the key, this is the value. Groovy is stored in name, in key. When we retrieve the data of the, when we want to retrieve the value from the hash table, we should use get method and the key. Like this, we can add many elements, like version. Groovy version will be 5.5, for example. Shift home, Control C, version. I am running this Groovy 5.5 version is printing. Okay, and here also we have the method called size. Size is predefined method for many of the topics. We want to know the size of the array list, arrays. No such property type for class. Sorry, I have used table. We should use ht. see size 2. Okay, this is all about hash table. I am repeating all the topics once. Till now we have discussed about arrays, array list, hash set, hash table, all will come under collections framework. And we spoke about iterator. Iterator has 3 methods to retrieve the data from the hash set: as next, remove, and hash set. As we discussed about certain methods only, it will be multiple. When we search in Google, we will find many methods, but here we discussed about useful methods. We can we can search in Google and we can see multiple method names are available on any hash set or hash table. As of now, we discussed about certain methods. Okay, and iterator, hash set. Under hash set we discussed about contains method and remove method. Size is same for all the topics. It will return the size of the array, size of the array list, size of the array hash set, size of the hash table. Okay, and we discussed about hash table as well. In hash table, I can say there are 2 methods. If you want to clear the hash table, there is a method called clear to clear entire the hash table, and there is a method called clone. Using this using clone method, we can create this clone method used to create a shallow copy of this hash table, whatever hash table we created. Like this, we have multiple methods based on our requirement. We can use it. So please reach out to me if you guys have any queries, and thank you for the session.